Okay, good evening everybody. I'm just gonna wait a couple of more minutes for everybody to come online. Thank you to everyone that's joining us this evening. From myself and on behalf of the rest of the RAEL members sitting here in this room this evening, we all want to send our greetings to you guys, to our families out there. But most importantly, what we are doing this evening is to remind the still suffering addict that there is hope. I'd like to thank Mr. Wall, Dr. Iana, Auntie Leslie, and the rest of the leadership as well. And for the people out there that is also supporting RAEL and doing everything for RAEL that they can. Thank you for making this opportunity for us, opening up this platform for us to come together just to share, our stories about our life, what we've been through, and to come and express ourselves, on the torment and the hurt that we've been through because of drug addiction. This evening I have a very young man that's going to speak. Brilliant boy, sharp man, hard-working person, but most importantly, the most respectful young man that I've met in my life. His name is Mikeyale. Is it Mikeyale or Mikeyale? Mikeyale. He says it's Mikeyale, but Kham will say Mikeyale. It's fine. And I was with Mikeyale when he got booked in. He came from another treatment center that closed down, and he came into RAEL. The first thing I heard him say is that I wish I'd come here before. From the treatment that he was getting from the different institute that he came from to where he is now on the RAEL farm. It opened up my eyes to make me realize, I wish I'd come to RAEL also 10 years ago when I stepped into recovery for the first time as well. And I'm grateful to be here at RAEL this evening. I'm grateful to be in sobriety. And I'm grateful that the doors of RAEL is still open to the still suffering addict that's out there. Okay, so I'm going to have Mike see his life story with you guys. He's going to tell you where he come from, what he's been through. And it's a very powerful story and testimony. And to see how Mike has grown from the time that he came into the point where he is now, guaranteed you can see how God has worked in a man's life, a young man's life. And to see how God has molded him to be on this farm, around the leadership with Mr. Hall, keeping a strong and a stern hand on him as well, and allowing us to express ourselves on the farm, empowering our lives, not enabling our lives. That is what RAEL stands for, recovering addict, empowering lives. And I've seen how Mike's life has been empowered, and he will share it on his journey with you guys here. Each and every member sitting here this evening as well. It's lekker to see how their life gets empowered on this farm, how the self-confidence comes back, how that peace and that serenity works inside of them. It reminds me constantly how God works on this farm, and that's where all the glory goes to at the end of the day. No man can take the glory but God. No man can take that glory. So I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mikeyale Engelbrecht. I'm 20 years old. I come from a small town in the Garden Route called Knysna. I was addicted to heroin and almost every other drug that there is. When I was young, everything was semi-normal, I was very good at when I was at school, got very high grades, didn't have to study. Everything was just easy for me. By the time I was about 13, 14, I started smoking cigarettes, started drinking, started smoking weed. Then things progressed. I went to Viderdrift High School. There I kind of minged with the wrong crowd, but slowly and surely I ended up leaving that school. And I went to Knysna International School. The first week at Knysna International School, I got so high. I smoked so much weed and I got so high that I passed out on the first floor of the school with my hair dyed green. That was it was a very, very weird day. But anyways, so from there it just carried on progressing. I ended up going to Rundle College, which opened up in Knysna temporarily because Knysna International School was closing down. And I really wanted to go to another Cambridge school. So when I was in Rundle College, it really didn't last long. I was about to get expelled from that school for fraternizing on school premises. and I left there just before they could expel me, and I went to Heather Hill College. Now at about 15 years old, at Heather Hill College, I started going to trance parties. And the first thing that I started experiencing and toying around with apart from weed and alcohol was magic mushrooms. I would eat handfuls of magic mushrooms, literally like this, just piled of magic mushrooms at a time. And I'd go and party. I would take loads and loads of ecstasy and just party the whole weekend straight. I wouldn't stop. And by the time I'd get home, my feet would be bleeding. And I'd just go and do it again the next time I get a chance. From there, it progressed to LSD. When I started taking LSD, I was taking 250 micrograms, which is about 2 times the normal dose. From there, it just progressed and progressed until I started taking 1,400, which was a point where I didn't even think I could get to, in all honesty. Like, when your whole world isn't your world and everything is just kind of melting around you, it's a very intense feeling, and you kind of start losing your mind a little bit. And I'm lucky that I can actually still sit here and still be sane and not have lost it completely, you know. And it's only through the grace of God that I could have actually kept my mind, because one thing that I never want to lose is my mind. And with that amount of psychedelics at such a young age, it's very possible too. So then from there, I started to take dimethyltryptamine, and many of you don't know what that is, but it's a psychedelic, one of the strongest. It's a chemical that gets released in your brain when you die, actually. And yeah, I started smoking that, and that was also, I forgot how to breathe during the 15 minutes of it, like lasting inside of my blood. Then from there, I started to mess around with sleeping tablets. I mean, at this point, I had dropped out of school. I was just carrying on doing my thing, taking drugs, you know, thinking that I'm the cool kid, skateboarding on weekends, smoking weed. I didn't realize my life is completely unmanageable and that I'm already addicted to marijuana because I was growing hydroponic indoor at the age of 15, you know. Like, I was smoking 20, 30 grams a day. But I never thought that I was addicted. You can't get addicted to weed, which is a very, very stupid assumption I made there. But anyways, so I carried on skateboarding, and I started taking sleeping tablets. I started drinking codeine. I was taking a box of sleeping tablets at a time, and then smoking a lot of indoor just to feel something that's not sobriety, to try to escape everything that's going on in my mind and everything that's going on in my life, just to numb myself, because it was just, I don't know why, my life was perfect. I had everything that I ever wanted. I had my family who loved me. I was able to get whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. And I just wanted to leave that for some reason. I don't know why, I just did. Then I started messing around with stronger opiate painkillers, Tramadol. And I was taking also half a box at a time. And I was gone. I was out of it. And one night, my ex-girlfriend's brother, I'm not going to mention his name just because of personal reasons, he walked into the room, and because I'd been taking so many sleeping tablets, I wanted to try Xanax. And he said to me, there was a group of 5 of us, would you like to have a line of Xanax? He told me he'd crushed it up, so I said, yeah, sure. And I took a line, took a few more lines, started puking, went back, had a few more lines. After about a month or 2, I posed the question to him, why does this smell like vinegar? And at that point, I realized it was heroin. But it was such a nice feeling that I didn't want to stop taking it. I just wanted to carrying on. And I don't know why, but it just kind of enveloped my life completely. I stopped caring about everything. Left the house. At this point, I was 17 years old. Moved into the house with my ex-girlfriend and her brother, and I started using heroin every day. From there, I started smoking it on bongs, tobacco, which in hindsight was very stupid because, you know, tobacco is one of the most addictive substances on this planet, nicotine. And that mixed with another one of the most addictive substances on this planet made it 100,000 times harder to stop. Then I started having serious physical withdrawals from the drug. And the only way I could think of fixing it, didn't think, no, I can go to rehab. The only way I could think of fixing it is let's get some more. And it ended up pulling me through this deep downward spiral where I was selling everything that I had. Basically the only clothing I had was clothing that had holes on it and the clothes on my back. I sold Xbox 360 with a lot of games for just over 300 rand. I mean, I've been a skateboarder since I was 12. I got given a Dark Star board that was 25 years old, They don't even make them anymore. The board by itself, without the trucks or the wheels or anything, was worth 10 grand. I sold that for $40 for 2 hits. It got really bad. After that, when I had nothing more to sell, I'd either manipulate my parents or I'd go and beg for money in the streets if they didn't want to help me. I actually ended up manipulating over 18,500 rand from my mother in 1 month just to get heroin. I didn't buy any food with it. I didn't buy anything else. I only bought heroin with it. And that really killed me looking back at it, because my mom, being an end-of-life carer, was dealing with her first patient that passed away on her. And I don't know why, but I just knew that now that the patient had passed away, it would be the easiest time to manipulate her. So I just carried on and on and on and on and on until it reached a point where she sent me the money. I think I sent her about 50, 60 messages in the space of an hour, just begging and begging and begging and begging. And she was dealing with the people's family, and it just kept going off. Her phone just kept going off, to the point that she just said, fuck it, I'll send you the money. And then she blocked me. She blocked me until the time that I let them know what happened and I stopped using. After that, not long after, I started injecting heroin. That was probably the worst mistake I ever made, because I thought, no, it would bring my dosage lower. And it didn't. It actually brought it higher. And my life started to fall apart completely. I stopped bathing, stopped washing my clothing. I stopped eating, stopped caring about food. All I cared about was just my next hit. Luckily, I wasn't paying rent, otherwise I would have been on the streets. My ex-girlfriend's sister in the house that we were living in, she wasn't there. It was just her, myself, and 3 other heroin addicts. So it was just drugs in the house constantly. And we just continued to use, to the point that we had nothing. I weighed 48 kilograms and I weigh 73, I used my entire body away, basically. I deteriorated completely. I had no life left in my body. In all honesty, if I didn't stop using when I did, I would have most likely died. So then, the weekend of the 18th of July last year, I decided to go with my ex-girlfriend to her brother-in-law and her sister's house to go and spend some time with her for my ex's birthday, which was on the 18th. We got 30 doses of heroin on the Sunday, and I used 15 of them. And while I was busy shooting my ex-girlfriend up, her brother-in-law walked into the room. He picked me up by my neck. He saw what was happening because I was busy shooting her up. He saw the tourniquet around her arm, and he picked me up by my neck, carried me into another room, and beat me to a pulp, basically. And I remember one of the times that he hit me square in the face. I was so high that I didn't even feel it, and I looked at him and I sarcastically went, ow, because I didn't feel it. The next morning I felt it though, but at that point I didn't. And when I went back into the room, I went back into my ex-girlfriend, and what do? I did the exact same thing. I start shooting her up again. Because that's the insanity of my addiction, It doesn't matter what happened to me, I'd still do it. Not only because I was codependent, but also because I know that after I've given her a shot, I can have my next one. Then, the next day, the 20th of July, was the first day that I was sober. And I remember it was a horrible day here. I was withdrawing from methamphetamine, Mandrax, and from heroin, all at the same time. First day sober. And I was sitting there, and I was in intense agony. I got to town at about 5 o'clock in the morning. I left that house that I was living in at about 5 p.m. The entire time, I was flipping the room upside down, just searching to see if I can find one bag that I had lost somewhere in the room. And I know I hadn't lost any, because every single time I make sure that I use it all. But I had to look because of the agony that I was in. I started getting the chills throughout my body. I started feeling this intense pain within me. And then I realized that about a week before that, I had prayed to God and I had said to him, God, please help me stop using. I can't do this on my own. Please, just help me. I'll do anything. Please, just help me. And I realized that this was the reason. This is how God helped me. That is the reason that I stopped using. I wouldn't have stopped using unless my ex-girlfriend and I were separated. On the 3rd day of my withdrawals, 3rd day of not sleeping, 3rd day of intense agony, not even being able to lie still for 10-15 minutes, not even 15 seconds, I said to my stepfather, look, I can't anymore. I need some sort of medication to help me. And I said to him, look, I don't want to take Suboxone, I don't want to take methadone, I don't want to get rid of the way I'm feeling. I need to feel the way I'm feeling because it's the only way I'm going to be able to stay sober. So I pushed through it, and I went to the hospital, and they gave me 2 diazepams, 2 Valiums every night, 1.5 in the mornings, 2 Phenergan antihistamines at night as well to try to help me sleep. I was also taking a lot of other medication to help with the pains and like stomach cramps and helping my stomach actually work properly, etc. And still that night I taken 2 Valiums, I took the 2 Phenegans, I still didn't sleep. I lay awake the whole night. Sure, I was a little bit more comfortable, but I was still struggling. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't even be in my own skin. And I remember my dog weighed more than I did at this point. My dog is a Basset Hound, Fred, and he got out of the gate. He was about 2 kilometers away from my house. And in my state of having no energy withdrawing, my stepdad phoned me and told me to go fetch the dog. And being a Basset Hound, stubborn as heck, I had to go and fetch him and put him over my shoulder and carry him back to my house. That experience took about an hour because I just couldn't. So after I got through the withdrawal stage, which was the worst thing I've ever been through, in all honesty, about a month after that, throughout that month, I was going to the Nice Alcohol and Drug Association, and they were giving me counselling throughout, helping me stay sober. And after that, on the 3rd of September, I went to the first rehab, Serenity. At Serenity, yes, I worked in the space of 2 months. I got through step 1 to step 7. I knew the literature, but I didn't know how to apply it into my life. I didn't know how to actually use it, if that makes sense. Like, the NA program has saved me. I've reached a point where, in my life, I will go right now. After this meeting, I'll probably go and sit in the room here with the newcomers and speak to them about the program and try to help them through whatever they are going through. Because I've experienced almost all of it. And yeah, I blasted through the NA program like it was nobody's business because I thought, hey, after I finish step 12, I can go home. But then I realized, after 2 months, the rehab was shutting down. And I was like, okay, well, that means I can most likely go home. And I remember the pain in my heart when the pamphlet fell on the desk in front of me for Namakwa, a rehab in Namakwa land. And I really didn't want to go there. In all honesty, it was so far away from my family. I just had to stay away. I did not want to do it. And one of the guys there, he got this pamphlet for RAEL. And I was looking through it, and I looked at everything that Mr. Hall had done in his life, and how many meetings he's given overseas, and how many people he's helped. And I thought to myself, wow, this is a place that I really actually want to go to. And that night, I got a phone call from my mother. As soon as I picked up that phone, she said to me, look, boy, you don't need to go to Namakwa. We found a rehab called RAEL. And I was about to mention the exact same thing to her. So I knew at that point it's God's plan. I have to go there. There's something for me there that I need to go and figure out. I need to go there to sort this one part of my life out that I won't be able to sort out anywhere else. So then I convinced my parents, look, let me come home for like 3-4 days, because my mom was down from England. I wanted to spend some time with her at least before I go to rehab again. So I did it. And I went home for a few days. After the 4th day, on my best mate's birthday, 4th of November, I climbed on a bus and I drove 6.5 hours to Worcester. That was a very long bus trip, but it was okay, you know. I knew that at the end of it there was going to be something for me. It's either going to be a blessing or a lesson. And luckily, for my case, it was a blessing. So I got to RAEL. My first day, I remember walking through the gates, going to the dining hall and being introduced to everybody. And the tank said, no, the guys must say hello to me. And I went, how's it, Oaks? And at that point, everybody thought I was high. And I was already sober for 3 months. But they all thought I was high. And I was walking around the farm, and the guys kept coming to me and introducing themselves. And I said, hi, I'm Mike. I'm going to forget your name. And one of the Oaks I said it 3 or 4 times to. The exact same thing. But after a while, I realized that this brotherhood is for me. I realized that this is more than just a rehabilitation place. This is a brotherhood. This is a family. People that you can look after and people that you can turn to whenever you want to. And they will always be willing to help. No matter what you're going through, they will be willing to help. I remember sitting down in one of Mr. Hall's meetings, and I was very full of myself at this point. And I was really worrying about, there was like a COVID scare on the farm, and I was really worrying, you know, because I'm asthmatic. I thought that I might, like, if I catch it, I'm going to die. So I brought it up, and one of the oaks that were here with us started shouting because he was also concerned, and there was a misunderstanding, and they thought that I was shouting at Tank. So I almost got thrown off the farm that night. And I'm very happy that I didn't get thrown off the farm, because, I've learned a lot since then, hey. And that was maybe the second week that I was here. Then it just carried on, and I just was having such a great time getting along with all of the oaks, learning so much from Mr. Hall. Like, bless his soul, he saved me. And through the grace of God, I ended up here, where the man is who can save me. So I continued working my program. Now, I got here, and I thought, I'm on step 7, I'm going to continue with step 7. I got here, and I realized, no, they're on step 3. I'm going to have to carry on from step 3. Not realizing that the program is an ongoing process, and I'm going to have to do it for the rest of my life. I'm thinking, no, this is just a one-time thing. I'm going to do it now, and then I'm never going to have to do it again. You know? So, now I'm in a bad mood, because I have to do step 3 again. We start doing step 4, back to step 1. And at that point, I was irritated, hey. I'll be honest with you, I was irritated. I just wanted to get this done. I just wanted to get it over with. I didn't want to be in rehab anymore. This was at the point where I was 6 months sober. And I was like, I'm done. I don't even have to be here anymore. What am I still doing? You know, I'm recovered. I can go home. So I'll ask Adi to pack my things for me.
Yeah. In the back.
But I didn't. I stuck it out, and I carried on doing what I had to do. And after quite a while, I actually learned respect and discipline from Mr. Hall. I learned to stand up when a lady walks into the room. To call people that are older than me, ma'am or sir. Even people that are younger than me, ma'am or sir. People that I need to respect and learn from, because you have to respect everybody in this world. God loves everyone, so you have to love everyone around you. Then after a couple months, I was busy speaking on one of these live streams, on Mr. Hall's page actually. And my biological father, who I hadn't seen in 4 years, saw me on Mr. Hall's live stream. After about another week, he found out where I was. He got the RAEL's phone number, and I had a visiting day with him. I'd completely written him off, in all honesty, because he was a cocaine addict and an alcoholic. And he did some very bad things in his past. But then I realized, past is the past. And if I don't sort this out now, I'm never going to be able to sort it out in future when he's in the grave, So, I asked Mr. Kurt if he can allow my father to come and see me, and he said he's going to have to clear it with my parents. And my mother said, you're big and ugly enough to make your own decisions now. So make your own decisions, do what you want to do. And I did it. I said, it's fine, I'd like to see my father. And I remember my stepdad was very irritated with me, because him and my father don't really have a very good history. So he was very agitated with the fact that my father could see me, but he couldn't, because he's 6.5 hours away, my father's 2 hours away. But overall, he's gotten okay with it. So through me being here, through God, and through Mr. Hall keeping me on this farm, I've been able to get my life back. I've been able to get my family back. And I've actually been able to find manageability and a reason to live. My reason to live is helping the next addict. Helping the next person who's going through the exact same thing I did. Helping the next person go through any suffering that they may be going through. Because chances are I've been through it. And sure, I've only got 8 months, but if you're here for one day, I have 8 months sobriety that I can give you advice out of. May not be much in the bigger picture, but it's something for now. And, at this point, my life is pretty much in order compared to how it was. I mean, compared to how it was, it's actually perfect, but I'm not there yet. I need more time. That's why I've told Mr. Hall I'm staying here for at least a year, minimum. 4th of November is minimum. I can't stay for less time, because it's my life at the line. It's my life that I'm playing with. And I don't care who causes nonsense. I don't care who wants to leave. I'm here for me.
Right.
If you want to leave, go. The gates are open for you.
Enough.
but I'm not leaving with you.
Amen.
So one thing I can say is that RAEL and this program has saved my life. It has saved this man sitting in front of you right now. Because I would not be where I am now without this place. Without God, firstly. Without Mr. Hall, secondly. Without RAEL, thirdly. And without the program, fourthly. And now I can apply the program to my entire life. I could be sitting there, see something that I want, and I could just go and take it very easily, and I wouldn't feel bad. But then I think to myself, that's actually a very bad thought, and I'm powerless over what I'm thinking about. And then I applied the entire program, from step 1 through 12, to me wanting to take this little thing. Why? Because that's the way I've learned how to do it now. That's the way I've learned how to make my life manageable. The only way to keep my life manageable is to continue to work this program for the rest of my life. I'm 20. I have a lot of time to fail still. So I need to be very careful with what I'm doing. I need to be very vigilant. More so than anyone else here, because I'm the youngest person here. And as I've been told before, and I feel the exact same way, if the recovery bus drives past here and there's only one seat on it, you better bet that I'm fighting tooth and nail to stay on that bus.
So,
Yay! Thank you very much.
Yo. Come on, brothers, keep it up. Let me hear you clap again there for Mike. That's it. Come on. Lovely stuff, yo.
Yeah,
What a powerful testimony, guys. Hey, I'm sure you must be glad you tuned in to listen to such a young man of 20 years old to conduct himself, to speak the way he did, and listen to everything that he's been through in his life at a young age, with how addiction comes to rob, steal, and kill. It doesn't ask you what age you are. It doesn't ask you what color you are. It doesn't ask you where you come from, whether you're from Bishop Lavis or Bishop's Court. Like Mikey Baby said here, no for permission. It will take you and your family down completely. And it will kill your family. It will kill you, it will destroy you slowly. And if you had listened to what Mike said, that it doesn't matter what the cost was for him to get his next fix, even though he knew he was killing himself and his family. He didn't know how to stop. He still continued doing what he was doing. And he picked up. But thank God, through desperation, not desperation alone that kept him sober till this day, but through desperation, that gift of desperation he developed in the times that he was using. He decided to make a change in his life. He decided to surrender. He decided to put the white flag up and say, drugs and alcohol has won the battle. However, this evening, Mike is winning the war. Now you work that one out for yourself. Then you work out what this place has done for this young man. RAEL, eh? Now, I just want to make one thing clear to everybody. To you guys. Now, Auntie Leslie's already laughing because she knows where I'm going to go with this. But just one thing clear. And especially to myself also sometimes. Because sometimes I can also get bigger than the game. That's one of my defects of character. I can admit that openly and honestly now. Before I couldn't because I had false pride in my pocket. Thinking that I was the O until Mr. Hall put me in the school. The same time that I walked through his door with my pants hanging, with earrings in, with necklaces on. Like what's a wannabe gangster walking in there like I owned the place. And he put me straight in the school in front of my mother. And that humbled me completely. RAEL is not a program of promotion. Yeah, we don't go out and tell people you must come here, you must come and do this, you must do that. No, my brother. This is a program of attraction. People that are desperate, families that are desperate, that were in hurt and pain and in a torment that they were going through because of addiction, they've been through or went to so many other rehabilitation, found RAEL. And they asked RAEL for help. And RAEL stepped in. A divine intervention that happened. And allowed God to work in that person's life. And then you get results like a young man sitting over here, Mike. Results like Lincoln yesterday graduating. How many diplomas is that, Lincoln? 3, no? 3 Angus, hy's ultimate. Na Angus, hy beat jou bro. Kan nie, ek moet maar net sê, the light must shine on you, my brother. So ek kan sê ek is blessed van my. I'm too blessed to stress this evening. You understand what I'm saying here, my brothers? I don't think you understand, sisters. You got to understand where I'm coming from here, my brother. Come on, keep it up, man. Hey? Such a divine intervention. It's lekker to listen to people's life story. Because you know why? It reminds me where I come from. And then also, to see how the program has worked in another person's life encourages me to hold on and to persevere and push through on what I need to do while I'm still here at RAEL. Broken service, let me remind you that. Yes, I did go home and tell my mother Mr. Hall relapse, and then my mother put me out. My mother didn't listen to the nonsense I spoke about Mr. Hall because she knew what she was dealing with, which I was a liar. I admit that openly. I wasn't honest enough. I stole. I robbed people in wheelchairs. I stole my auntie's geezer. Yes, and then I put the cover back together to make it look like the geezer was still there. So when she went there to turn the hot water open to take a shower, she realized there's no water coming out. Then she took it even further to phone the plumber because she thought there's something wrong with the pipe. The first thing the plumber did with us when he walked into our house was, ma'am, can you just show me where the geyser is? And you know, it's at Gam houses, Uncle Brian, at Gam where the geyser's under the zinc, in the cover, the cupboards is there. You know, copper geyser. Right, it's been a week since it's been missing. They thinking there's something wrong with the pipes. Meantime, me and my cousin went to go sell the geyser. We smoked the money long time out, and the plumber walks in and he says, ma'am, just show me where the geyser is. And he takes a walk and he opens up the cover and he looks at it and he says, like, there's no geyser. Oh, okay.
You're doing very well.
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Mike. I need to keep it up here, my brother. Auntie Leslie's laughing lekker hier, man. I tell you something, hey guys. It's a lekker, lovely spirit here on the farm this evening. The guys are all sitting together here. Fine young gentlemen. Sitting together with elderly here as well. Uncle Brian, we cannot forget about you, sir. Uncle Chris, you also there. I love you, sir. I love you. I love you all. Uncle Eric, Uncle Saki. But to sit here this evening, together as a group in a collective, knowing what we are doing here, standing together and fighting against addiction, and reminding the still suffering addict and families that are still struggling out there because of this disease, that there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe RAEL can't save every addict out there in the world, but the world will change for that one addict's life, like Mike. Do you understand what I'm saying? His world has changed. God has worked in this man's life. Now, why do you want to stand in the way of that, brothers and sisters? Eh? Why do you want to ram the place down and Mr. Hall down? Eh? Because he's not perfect. If you haven't sinned this evening, then you throw the first rock, brothers and sisters. If you never did anything wrong in your life, then I urge you, pick up the rock and throw it, man. Because people in glass houses does not throw stones. Work that one out for yourself, man. It's tight here this evening, I'm telling you, man. And when it comes to addiction and recovery, there's no person that I've ever met that knows it like Mr. Hall. Back to front. Front to back. Left to side. That's a song, I'm telling you. Keep it up there, brothers, man. Pastor, where you at? I love you guys. I love all of you, you know. And that's just how beautiful it is of what the work Mr. Hall does here on this farm. Of how he teaches us addiction recovery. 16 years sobriety. In actual fact, if you listen to his life story of how long he's been battling with addiction, it's over 40 years of experience. Hey? Now, why wouldn't I take the time at 29 years old to listen to that man? I know I sometimes can be stubborn. I know I sometimes can be harrigat, Mr. Hall. I know I sometimes can be... Okay, I don't want to swear, sir. I don't swear. Okay, we don't swear here, guys. Hey, do we swear?
No,
we don't
sir.
swear. We don't swear here.
Not
We don't
once,
swear.
sir.
We don't swear. Okay, we don't swear. Yeah, I like that. Keep it up there, brother. You're doing very well. And yeah, no, I was on a roll there now. But nobody knows addiction recovery like Mr. Hall. And at 29 years old, at my age, I have to listen to that man because he knows how to stay sober, to live sober, to do things sober. What I thought I knew was best for me was busy killing me out there in active addiction. My best thoughts got me into trouble. my best thoughts harmed me and my family. So ultimately, because I humiliated myself in addiction, I had to humble myself. Nobody could mess me up very well. Like Mike said, he was physically beaten up. But I did that to myself very well, the way I did it. To mess myself up, completely broken, torn apart to pieces inside and out. Walked in these doors, broken, and by grace alone, I've been saved sitting here this evening. So I hope you guys got as much as you could out of Mike's story. Thank you for sharing, Mike. Thank you for your testimony, my brother. You know? Yeah, for sure, Auntie Leslie, of course. I just want to go through some of the comments here. The doctor is saying something here, guys. The difference is some people only know the theory and talk the talk. Then there are those like Mr. Hall, who also walks the walk 24/7 live. I like that, doctor. And that's why I would comment on that and say, there's nobody that knows how to stay sober like Mr. Hall, that does his recovery like Mr. Hall. The comment of Mr. Hall being the best is from Angus. That is correct, my gam brother. I like that. Come on, Adi. You're doing well. That's it. Keep it up. Keep it up, boys. I raise a hallelujah. Amen. I do. You guys are amazing. Love you all at RAEL. These are all the comments coming through, guys. And sometimes the guys don't see it because they're just on the farm, and sometimes do get time to go out when they do work outside. Yes, we do work outside. We do community work as well and community service, because it's what we are being taught here, to be of service. The guys think that this is just RAEL, yeah. But I constantly remind them that RAEL is also out there with the love and the support from other people like family members. And it's an honor and a blessing, man. And this evening with my brothers in arms, Mr. Hall, I'll just end the meeting by saying something. I want everybody to say thank you, Mr. Hall, and I love you, Mr. Hall. Say it, guys.
Thank you, sir. I love you, sir.
Love you guys. Love to RAEL.
Really
love
and
to
truly,
the support.
sir.
Thank you to all the families listening. Thank you to all the families and all the support. Good leader, Kobus says, Mr. Hall. Good leader and good teacher.
100%.
Keep it up, sir. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Okay, we will have another story sometime again and we'll let you guys know. Have a lovely evening further. From my side and the rest of the RAEL members, God bless. Thank you. Ricardo, Mr. Hall wants you to come talk here. Come say something here in the Gam language, my bro. Salute. Mr. Hall, here's Ricardo before we say goodbye.
Naand allemaal. Hallo Mr. Hall. Ja, as ek gaan herhaal hier van die plaas.
As dit nou ja.
Salut ja. Ons gaan Sondag hier.
Hy wag op bro.
Hi Mr. Hall, ja. Ek wil ook sê net vir almal hier op die live, ja. Dis Ricardo. Oor am toe jong. Dis van Robertson.
Have you been smoking something?
No.
He always looks Chinese.
Hey. Ja. Ja, baie na groot naand almal. Dit maak met die mekaar hier man. Dis van Robertson. Ek is nou amper 4 maande hier op die plaas. So ek wil nie sê hoeveel jare ek al addicted is nie. Maar nou ja, dit was 'n maak of breek situasie, was al amper al lewe en dood, want ek het al begin beklei met my familie. Almal, dit was klomp aartjies. Hallo.
Klomp aartjies, hy likes it.
Ja.
Kyk hoe rooi raak hy. Keep it up, Ricardo.
Ja, maar ek sê weer, dit was nie met meneer Holly. Meneer Holly het my ingevat hier. Ek is ten volle gebody Mr. Hall, ek is baie bly vir hom daarvoor. Ek sê altyd, naast die Here en naast my ma is meneer Holly belangrikste man in my lewe nou. Hy het regtig my lewe gered. En ek het baie kom leer hier en ek weet ek is nou al, ek wil ek sê my ouderdom nie, want dan gaat aan niemand die vir my hallo sê nie. Ja, ek is 45 jaar oud en jy moet weet vir die 45 jaar was ek meer as 23, 24, nee, ek lieg 27 jaar was ek al 'n verslaafde gewees. En ek sê, was dit nie nou nie, dan het die doodsieker vir my gewag. Okay. Ja, maar mense, ek gaan nog een my storie vertel. Dis maar net om hallo te sê vir julle almal.
Lekker.
En as ek,
do the next one.
ja, ek sal die volgende een doen.
Correct, ja.
Ek sal die volgende doen, maar geniet julle aantjie ouens. En Mr. Hall, julle moet dit geniet. Wees veilig.
Please
Met die
be
bekende-
safe.
Ja, please be safe, soos Mikeyale sê. En hallo Angie baby, how are you?
Engie baby.
Ek het jou mos vertel gister van Lincoln, hè?
Okay.
Oh, popping, bursting at the seams.
Ja, is dit nou ja.
Hey, die over het my vandag 'n harde tyd gegee, jong. Maar right, keep it up, keep it up. Maar jy moet dit geniet. Bye almal. Lekker aan.
Say your prayer, Mikey.
Come on, Mikey. Is Michael?
Just close the
he's
prayer when you
only-
say finish.
Alright, so I'm just going to close off in prayer. So would you guys please all just close your eyes? Thank you, Father, for this wonderful day and this wonderful evening that you've given to us. Thank you that you have been with us throughout this evening. God, please be with everyone on this farm, everyone on this live stream, all of the family members connected to the people on this live stream and on this farm, God. God, please be with Mr. Hall, who's on the road at the moment, and please just look after him. Look after Angus. Just be with them, God. They need your protection. We all need your protection, God. We all need your guidance. We need you to keep us on the path that we are moving on now, God. For without you, we are not going to go anywhere, God. We'll fall back down that escalator. We will no longer be climbing up it, God. We need you, now more than ever, with everything that's going on right now, God. Within everywhere, within the farm, within the country, we need you. Please just be with us. Please just protect us. Please just guide us. Give to us your will for our lives, and just keep us going the way that you need us to go, God. Please help us through any hardships we are going through, God. Please return the addict who's still outside suffering, God. Please return him to sanity and realize that there is a better way than to carry on using. Please let him realize that there's better means than the 3 means that it ends up in and the final price that you have to pay. God, please just be with us all and protect us all. Be with all those addicts who are out there who need you, God. They need you now more than ever. Please, Lord, I pray this in the holy name of yourself, your Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Please forgive us.